Hey guys, remember that storm we went through with all the hail and the tornado?
Man, I hope this hail doesn't get any bigger.
Houston, we have a problem. Welcome back to the RV Odd Couple. My name is John.
And I'm Mercedes, and long story short, we sold most of our possessions in pursuit of freedom, independence, and adventure.
Because life is so short, you guys, and I'll tell you what, we woke up the other night to a waterfall in our kitchen. Literally buckets and buckets of water pouring through. You see, most of you remember we went through a nasty storm. We were in Amarillo, Texas. There was a tornado that was close by, but we had 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch hail. Now, I jumped up on the roof and I did an inspection after that night had cleared, and I couldn't see anything at that point. And so far, we haven't had any really bad weather. In Denver, it never rained once. They're going through a dry spell there. So the roof was never really put to the test until last night. And last night, we all went to bed. I was just about half asleep. I mean, you guys know, one of the things we love about RVing is when the weather's nasty outside.
Well, you can actually hear the rain against the roof, and it's like...
Yeah, we both love that feeling. We both sleep really good when it's doing that. But this was a really heavy downpour rain. And then all of a sudden, I thought I heard a splashing coming from the kitchen. So Mercedes and the baby were asleep, and I walked up into the kitchen, and oh my God, surprise! I was like, oh my, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Obviously, when this is happening, there's a few things you really do need to have. It would have been great to have an additional blue tarp, because I could have run up there that night, put the tarp outside to cover that area. Now, at this point, I have no idea where that leak is coming from. And for those of you who know roofing, you never know where a leak is tracking from. It could be 12, 14, 15 feet from where it's dripping down in the bottom. So I immediately started doing my inspection in the kitchen and watching it. It was coming down this one strip right across that was just off the center island in our kitchen.
But it was hard because it was coming down the whole thing. It wasn't like a clear, only one part of the roof is leaking. It was like a waterfall.
It was dripping every 12 to 16 inches. It was dripping like a waterfall. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up pulling out that trim piece that covers those panels for the roof. I pulled that out and I saw where the leak was coming from. So I traced and tracked down where that water was coming in from. And it was from the passenger side of the RV.
Which is a miracle, people. This is a miracle because all it takes is like a paper cut in any place on the roof, and just because the water is coming out on one part of the RV doesn't mean that
it's leaking right below.
Exactly.
Which is what I meant by, you guys know how hard it is to track water. So I knew it was going to be a long night. So I immediately went and put my MacGyver tool belt on, and I started figuring out what can I do to keep the water damage as low as I possibly could. I knew I didn't have a tarp. I knew I wasn't going outside at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning to try to cover this up. So my job was to try to lessen the damage that was going to come from that water, because the water afterwards is what causes lots of damage to RVs. So what I did was I actually created a gutter out of that trim piece and some wicks, because I knew it was coming in one side of the RV and going another way. So a few things I did was I did get outside. I lowered one side of the RV to get that water from standing and get off the RV, which did help a little bit, but not much. And then I created a gutter system with some wicking, and I put it into a bucket. It was so I think it's coming in from this side, so I stuck that trim back in there, dried it all off, and then I got it going down here into the bucket. So I'm hoping it'll wick down this way. Anything that gets past here will get caught up in this, and then it wick and drip down into this channel, kind of like a gutter. And the gutter will dump down into there. And then also near in another wick, because some of it's still getting down this track. It's running down this track like this. So I changed this wick so it'll at least drip away from my trim, so it'll hit the floor. Drop another towel right there, and that should do it for the night. Mercedes has no idea this is going on.
No, I'm just laughing because he's describing this elaborate plan, and it's like by this time, what, 2 o'clock in the morning?
1:32,
like,
something like that.
He's like doing all this crazy stuff, but it's true. You had to do that to protect the RV so that nothing worse or nothing more happened.
Yeah, and so I got towels. I cleaned up the water as best I could. I felt comfortable enough to think that at least I was getting that water to track into one place, so it wasn't going to do any more damage to my RV. And so I went to bed, woke up the next morning. I pulled that piece completely down. I dried the ceiling as best I could. Now, thank God, this is the first time that this has happened because there's no water damage. I was able to suck that water out of those panels in the roof. So usually you'll start to see like this darkening or you know, like these darker rings or darker. The staining is the problem. And so I dried it out the best I could. And it looks like I did a fairly good job. So the next day I woke up, I show Mercedes. She's like, oh, that doesn't look so bad because I got up first, put it back together. She didn't see it.
He made it look pretty good. But then when I saw the footage of what he was really up to, I was like, oh my goodness.
I said, check this out. Look at what I did last night. And I'm showing her the footage of how badly that was pouring into the kitchen. And Mercedes realized that we had a big problem.
Hold on, Sage wants to show me
Oh my God,
bug.
she's got a lightning bug.
Good job, kiddo.
Come over here.
Pick it up.
All right,
and
we're
show
going
them.
to pick you up. And we're going to
Look at
show
that
you
lightning
here.
bug.
Sage. Oh, there it goes.
away.
It flew away.
Oh, you got to go get another one.
Guys, we got to tell you this story. So this morning we wake up. We told you that Thunder Canyon Camp Gratitude is amazing. It's magical here.
Yeah.
We've got 226 acres all to ourselves. We had this gorgeous blue butterfly that has been hanging around our RV all day. Sage is actually petting this butterfly. That's how magical it is here. And this thing won't leave. Even Skippy, it's landing on Skippy's head and then flying away, and Skippy's not going crazy over it.
It was pretty special.
It was a pretty special moment for all of us. We've never seen a butterfly do or act like that, but Sage absolutely loved it.
Say cheese, butterfly.
Yeah. So back to the roof.
Back to the roof. Back to the roof.
But I think it's worth noting, we missed an important part, okay? After we published the video of this wretched storm through Tornado Alley and this really scary experience, we actually got a message from an RV Odd Squad member / our insurance agent, Marty at Charlotte Insurance. And he was like, man, y'all, that was really scary. Do you guys want to start a claim?
Yeah, the very next day, Marty had watched that video and he sent us a message, said, hey, you guys want to file a claim? And we said, Marty, honestly, at that point, we thought we had lost a slide-out cover, the awning cover, and that was it. We didn't see any other damage that had happened.
Yeah.
And we knew our deductible would be more expensive than that. We didn't want to file a claim. So we said, Marty, we're good. We're not going to have to file a claim. Now, that's been weeks. I mean, almost, 6 weeks since that storm happened, and it hasn't really given the RV a test. It hasn't been heavy rain.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did the next morning after showing Mercedes the video and the pictures of what I was battling all night, I jumped up on the roof with some towels. I was terrified that I wasn't going to be able to find a trace where that water was coming from because there was no water left up there at that point.
Yeah.
But I started looking and seeing these little cuts at about a 1/2 inch to 3/8 all over the place, these little micro cuts. What I started to notice is that the roofing is glued to the roof, right? It's glued to a 3/8 inch piece of plywood, maybe. We're not sure exactly what it is there, but it's some type of a substrate.
Yeah.
And in some areas, there's a little bit of a space where they have the corner of the drip edge that's underneath that wrap, and they wrap over the top. Well, any place where there was a soft mark, it looked like the hail was able to dig down and divot into little holes along this whole space, this whole run of the RV. So believe it or not, I was really happy that I was able to find it because some of you know how hard it can be to track a leak on a roof. And then I knew that I had to take care of my RV. I had to protect my RV because any more water coming through like that would probably start to cause serious damage.
Which is probably a good thing to note, that whenever you're experiencing damage like that to your RV, your first objective is to minimize the damage to your property as much as possible. And that's how you found the 2 solutions, not just the wicking, but also what you did to the roof.
So guys, as soon as I found the cracks, I was pretty excited about it. I jumped down. First of all, I texted Marty. I said, we got hail damage.
Houston, we have a problem
Houston,
here.
we have a big problem. We texted Marty. We let her know that we actually, looks like we had hail damage. I got pictures of everything. I documented everything. I secured my RV. Now it was time to make sure that there was no more leaking. What I actually used to tighten up, because one of the problems here in Alabama is it'll pour and then the sun will come out for an hour or two and then it'll pour again. And so I knew I needed a quick fix, and I didn't have a tarp, and there was no place close to go get a tarp. So what I did was I grabbed some Gorilla Tape and I cleaned up. There was around 13 little dings where the hail had made little holes in that roofing. And so what I did was I grabbed the Gorilla Tape, I cleaned the surface, all the oil, the dirt, the crap that was on there, got it nice and dry, and then I kind of pushed Gorilla Tape over the top. Guys, the Gorilla Tape is an amazing tape. It's an amazing product. I rubbed it on there hard. I give it just a little bit of heat to make that stick really good, and that worked. I knew exactly what I needed to order, and here's a really big tip for any of you RVers. These are products you want to purchase and bring with you as soon as you buy an RV, right? One is Dicor. This fills and seals holes, and this one is a non-sag. So this one is the one that you'll put over different additions you add to your RV. You'll see it over bolts or screws that are put into your roof. And I'll show you a picture right here of what it looks like. This stuff is almost, if there's a little bit of an angle, this stuff will drip a little bit, but then it will freeze. The Dicor will continue to run. So this is good to fill holes with. It's good to
the leveling.
Make repairs. Yeah, it kind of self-levels itself.
Okay.
So guys, have this with you.
Well, the hurricane coming up has been quite the issue. Just because we're not in Florida doesn't mean that hurricanes don't travel up and we still get those outer bands.
Yeah, we've been here in the park, and that hurricane coming up from Florida has been just doing bands of heavy, heavy, heavy rain that will disappear for a little while.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the Gorilla Tape is held well. As soon as we get 3 or 4 hour hole where I'm able to put the Dicor and I'll peel back that Gorilla Tape. We'll go ahead and fill those holes and do it right. Ultimately, Marty is already on it. One of the things we love about Marty Carricker and Charlotte Insurance is, guys, we're coming up on 500 members of the RV Odd Squad that have gotten their RV insurance through Marty. Marty and his team now are one of only, I think, 8 or 9 people designated as RV specialists in the insurance industry, which we're pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
What you guys also don't know is that when we started doing RVOddSquadInsurance.com, if you want great RV insurance, go there. We started building our community of RV Odd Squad members. Mercedes and I have been working on a membership for about 9 months now, and we're going to unveil it next week along with a whole bunch of details about Thunder Canyon and Camp Gratitude.
But what's really cool is that there's so many of us using Charlotte Insurance and using RV Odd Squad Insurance that we qualify for discounts.
Huge discounts. Guys, there is power in numbers. We've got a ton of different companies reaching out to us asking if they can have access to the RV Odd Squad.
Yeah.
So we're about to launch something that's really, really special for the RV Odd Squad. We are going to become a powerhouse in the RV industry. We're not going to be controlled by people that don't even RV and just want to come in here and sell products to us. Now at this point, Marty has 4 full-time agents.
In the RV department.
Just in the RV department. So you don't just go online and fill out a form. You actually talk to a human being that finds out what your needs are for RV insurance. Out of almost 500 RV Odd Squad members who have signed up for this, not one has been dissatisfied.
But make no mistake, we submitted a claim and we're going to hold them to the test. So we owe you guys updates on what happens with our claim, like how fast we can get an adjuster out there, what that whole process is like. This is a to be continued. Guys, the fact that we have RV Odd Squad insurance is absolutely amazing. Because I don't know about you, but as an RVer, I'm really tired of paying non-RVers or people that don't specialize in the needs of RVers, that don't really understand the lifestyle. I'm tired of giving them my money, right? And so the fact that we have an RV Odd Squad member that actually watches our videos, that is in charge of RV Odd Squad insurance, means the world to us. When you can text someone on a Saturday and they give you your policy number, they tell you what number to call, they even give you the website so you can just do the claim online in like 4.5 minutes. That makes it so much easier, and this is why it's so important to not go through a 1-800 number and not go through online. You have to have a human being that you can talk to.
Yeah, most people only look for the lowest price, guys, and that's not what you should be doing. You should actually be talking to an agent that understands how RV insurance works, because they all will be happy to take your money until it's time to get a claim, and then 90% of the time you will find out that you were not covered.
Yeah, I really hope that there's not severe water damage between the roof and the panel, and I really hope that there's also not mold that's being like, you know, cooked there.
It's pretty clear to me that they're hail bops, guys, and I'm 90% sure that they're gonna cover it for us.
What is it? Ah, I got a bug on me.
Oh wow, look at him.
Ah!
Wow.
I'm not built for Alabama.
One of the
I'm
things
in trouble.
Mercedes has not liked about because we love everything about this place, the people, the kindness, the love that we feel,
The food.
from the community, the food. But there's a lot of bugs here, and Mercedes isn't used to it.
They're so big, okay? Daddy longlegs in Colorado are like an inch big. Daddy longlegs in Alabama are like 4.5
Oh,
inches
they're
big.
monsters, guys. Absolute monsters.
They're insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna take me some getting used to. I'm a city girl, okay? I'm not used to that.
And as far as a quick report on what we're doing down here in Alabama, guys, we're moving mountains down here. We really feel that God's hand is in this entire thing. We're moving in the right direction. Next Sunday, we're going to have a huge announcement for the RV Odd Squad. We've been working for a year on this. We had no idea that we may have a campground involved by this point when we were going to launch our memberships. It's just the way that it works out. We're super excited to bring it to you. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, subscribe to your channel. Mercedes and I are about to build the largest, best online community of anywhere on the internet.
Yeah, and it's not owned by Wall Street.
It's
guys.
not owned by Wall Street. It's not a part of the paradigm of lies of Wall Street, guys. This is going to be a community of love, helpfulness, and consideration of one another. We'll see you in the next video.